Sukuna didn't slack during the time he was able to level up, as with his level of skill in Jujutsu, just being able to get the skill to level 3 or past was enough to make it formidable. Boomerang. Using this skill and holding the sign of the tiger, as he's thrown back, he swings using stack in tandem with this, throwing out flying invisible blades. Yuji darts to the right, avoiding one as it carves into the floor, but one hits his shield from behind and he smiles. Got me trapped, huh? The king lands and begins to speak using another skill called Incantation, which acts as a buff to any and all cleave and dismantle attacks sent out, even while they're about to strike and before they've even left his body or after they've left his body. So while the attacks are about to hit, they can just exponentially get stronger in an instant. Pretty soon, Yuji finds himself in a zone that he cannot escape, as with his observation, he is able to see the invisible attacks going back and forth and surrounding him. As the name Boomerang suggests, they hit and come back, but with Sukuna's incantations, those attacks grow strong after every impact until Spatial Cleave. With the kick and his domain amplification stacked with the counter, Yuji hits and throws this right back at Sukuna with twice the power, tearing off one of his arms as he jumps to a building and runs along it, pointing downwards as he heals himself. Twin Dragons. Another cleave has then been stacked up to full power, allowing it to cleave space, and Yuji spins, countering it again with the hook this time, which spins back to Sukuna, but he grows a grin as he uses his stack, putting multiple attacks into one and throwing a cleave that then hits this attack back at Yuji, whose eyes widen. From Jujutsu Tech, everyone gasps as this cleave not only hits Yuji, but takes out 10 blocks with ease. Holding his hand forward, Fushiguro summons a wield on his head as he looks forward, telling everyone essentially what had just happened because he can now see Sukuna's technique. When the hell did you get that? Asked Kugisaki. Wait, more importantly, isn't he like busted? It took me months just to get one special skill, and he just made tons casually like that? He's lived for thousands of years. That's child play to someone of his caliber, said Kusakabe. As his smile returns, Sukuna remarks that while Yuji definitely is strong, he has no finesse with his abilities. He just brute strengths everything. You're boring, huh? As the dust slowly clears, Yuji lands before him from flight, without a cut on his body, putting hope back into the hearts of his loved ones. Yeah, I guess I did slack a bit. I just didn't know if you were worth it. I got my answer. You're saying you let my attack hit you? Well, yeah, but I was so amazed by your strategy that I was just frozen. I'll be using my road powers from now on, though. With a stomp, he erupts a ring of fire on Sukuna, which shrinks, slicing his top half from his bottom in instants, leaving Sukuna coughing blood. But having leveled up his reverse curse technique, he regenerates in a blink and equips new pants as he prepares to use Dismantle, when a laser then fires from where the ring shrunk, taking one of his 3 arms. You wanted me to get serious, right? That means you're not going to be able to do much from now on. In a blink, as he steps, Yuji pierces through the king's chest and holds his hand behind him, and holds the cleaves in place before they were flung at him with his mana, much to the king's shock. Life Drain, active, max level, evolved to Gluttony, active, level 16. His technique is then absorbed by the boy, buffing his cursed energy as he rips his hand out, and as he pulls back, he riddles Sukuna with multiple blows, and in the same motion, shreds through his body with wind from inside, which tears into ribbons. Before it reaches his head, he manages to detach it, and heals himself, finding himself naked, and his arms are then frozen, as in an instant they shatter, with Yuji then palm striking him. Kagutsuchi. His entire torso and the rest of his body is then fried to nothing in an instant by an explosion of fire. The ground beneath them sinks and melts as Sukuna is left dazed and his head is grabbed as it falls. Come on, heal. He pulls back and throws him down into the boiling earth, and Sukuna's rage allows him to create the rest of his body again, and though it is instant, it is most definitely slower than before. The moment his feet touch the ground, he jumps aside as a burst of magma nearly melts him, and then he equips new clothes. Damn it, I'm running out of pants. Appearing right before him, Yuji kicks him in the jaw and appears right above the crater, throwing another kick which is met by a dismantle. Then stop me from hitting you. While they struggle in the air, Sukuna stacks and keeps attacking, but Yuji just infuses more power into his shield and tanks it, deflecting the slashes away and causing more destruction. At this point, it was no longer a battle between people or sorcerers, but calamities. He's enjoying this a lot, isn't he? Asked Junpei. Sorry, man. No, I don't mind. I don't think that Yuji really enjoys things the same way we do. If he's had this technique since he was a kid, then I imagine fighting is like a drug to him. Yuta says, yeah, but is he even taking Sukuna seriously? Kusakabe asks why he thinks that, and Yuta says Sukuna has been using strategies and tricks, and yet Yuji is still just straightforward like always. And he knows Yuji has the brains to pull off some insane IQ stuff. So why? Domain expansion. Malevolent shrine. Yuji with a smile watches the domain deploy as Sukuna stands atop his shrine, speaking incantations as every slash that hits Yuji is one which can sever the world. But he just lets them hit him as his body is seared into again and again. There's no bleeding, but his clothes just are the only ones taking a beating, honestly. And Sukuna shouts, "Don't you bleed?" Oh, don't complain now. I'm just getting started. As that grin grows on Yuji's face, he pulls up for a fight right as his hand is knocked back, taking severe damage to his HP, but he heals it back to what it was in an instant. Already, however, Sukuna came down and used his arms to finally do some good bashing, throwing hit after hit, but Yuji just keeps countering and somehow making Sukuna's own punches hit his own body, before then laying a haymaker on him and kicking him in the stomach. Why? Why are you letting that happen? Black Flash. Upon uttering these words, he attacks and sparks of black crash Sukuna through his own shrine, leaving a gaping hole in his stomach as he's thrown far from the shrine. But then Yuji buckles. Why the hell is he doing that? There's no way he's already out of power. That crazy bastard, says Fushiguro. As they look at him, Fushiguro is sweating bullets. He's training himself. With every attack, he's trying to raise his stamina. They can't believe he's really doing this, but yes, Yuji was really going that far. But at some point, the attacks no longer affected his body, as in that short span, he was able to adapt and grow his stats to master damage using his gluttony as well. And then he began to put his hands together, right as Sukuna leaps over the shrine with a look of distress. Domain number 1. Niflheim. Everything comes to a stop as Malevolent Shrine is frozen and blown away like dust before Sukuna falls face first into some snow. He then quickly stands at the bottom of a mountain, and atop it will be a snarling Fenrir, who holds his paw forward and speaks for the first time. And he says, "Freeze." How? It wasn't even a few seconds, but in an instant, like the moment he entered his space, Sukuna had already been turned to a statue of ice, which is then, like his own domain, blown away, and he finds himself before the boy, sitting right before him. They're in a room, and a table is between them. On it are sake cups that Yuji pushes toward the king. He then grabs it and chugs it down. You know it's fake, right? I can't believe I lost to somebody like you. Substance is something different, boy. Yeah, you don't get to talk about substance. I don't even know why you came back to do any of this. You think nothing matters, but you keep trying to clearly prove something. If anyone's boring, it's you. You don't have anything. Jujutsu indicates that when the winner talks to the loser, it is always a talk of philosophy or ideologies, and whoever won was right. But I don't really care either way, says Yuji. Everyone's technique dedicates their life after all. I see everything as a game. Well, almost everything. You're not gonna drink. I'm 15. Sukuna bursts into laughter as the insanity before him is just unbelievable. You can very well dominate the entire world, and yet you won't drink wine or indulge yourself. That's a curse that's going to eat you alive one day. Yuji then looks at the cup and picks it up, much to Sukuna's surprise, before drinking it in one gulp. Ugh, gross. If anyone's cursed, it's you. Looks like her time's up. His body begins to crack. It's time for Sukuna to leave this world, and Yuji will be seeing him off. And in those last moments, Sukuna felt unaccomplished. He was trying to gain the upper hand, even if his last moments with this boy, because what he faced is what he truly viewed as a god. Yuji Itadori has weaknesses, and yet it doesn't matter. It was arrogance on his part. And in the end, Yuji had already rebooted the curse that he cast on him, as he was an individual who did not fear change. Nothing of the king remains, as even his fingers elsewhere disappear, because Sukuna made a bet with his life. If he has finally faced defeat, he should just accept it, and as the loser of this fight, he makes Yuji Itadori the winner. Everyone breathes a sigh of relief as Yuji then summons his Kogane right before him. And the calling games now. Not enough points have been gathered, and no rule can be added that interferes with the calling game. Yeah, I knew you'd say that. Even now I can feel you trying to infiltrate my technique. The Shikigami breaks into sweat as it is lit and torn by wind, and Yuji holds his hands to the floor using his skill Senjutsu. Shatter. Each and every barrier made by Tengen breaks, and she feels it, but it's about time. Trying to monopolize cursed energy is the reason this is all happening to begin with, and trying to hold such despair over Japan is stupid. Even if he will be cursed for it, Yuji does this for the sake of Japan. Now the world will share this despair. Well, they would, but while the cursed energy left their borders, they passed through Yuji's own massive barrier put over the entire continent. This filters it as well. Therefore, instead of their emotions simply making curses, they would create these pocket dimensions. Let me explain. Every malevolent thought, emotion is transported to a different world and takes form. Similar to Yuji's own dungeons, they are born in their own little worlds, and if they are feared enough, they will stay there and wander that world of curses. But every once in a while, a crack can be formed and a powerful curse will try to escape, so sorcerers need to head in and take care of it, just like a game. This world of curses will be named the Nether by the one who made it possible. The new age that Kenjaku wanted never came to be born because of his own xenophobia and grand delusions built on toxic systems that he forced on those who didn't really have a choice in the matter. It really just didn't fit. And in this new world of Jujutsu, of course, there are nails that stick out. Geniuses rise and fall, hard workers catch up and sometimes surpass those geniuses, but in the end, even through the hatred that humanity creates, at least they have more protectors now. 5 years later, Jujutsu Tech, Kyoto. In a classroom, we find students from all over the world gathered and sitting in a massive auditorium as they talk, bicker, or just gossip. When suddenly they get quiet as a shout is heard, and they look down seeing the S-grade sorcerer Aoi Todo. "Good morning!" They all respond with the good morning back, putting a smile on Todo's face, as he would then cross his arms saying they would not need their textbooks today. "Are we doing what I think we're doing?" "No way, I hope it is." Today we get onto the topic of dungeons, meaning dungeon hunting. Everyone erupts into excitement as Todo weaved his hands and held forward a diamond shape, causing a crack to appear, which seeps out a mix of cursed energy and mana. We then shift to another classroom, and we see Kugisaki and Nobara walking around and overlooking groups of students as they each try to create cursed tools. She wasn't the teacher, however, as Nanami Kento from afar works on some paperwork from his desk. "Kugisaki, are you sure you're not busy?" "Oh, I never lie to you, Nanami-sensei, it's fine." We then head outside, seeing Maki leading her own class, which held much like her those with heavenly restriction, alike to hers. However, they chose this option as Yuji was able to eventually figure out how to do it on a massive scale. So now you can just pick if you wish to just let go of everything, and instead of having cursed energy or mana, you gain aura. When cursed energy spread, mana eventually did, spread everywhere, and halted the creation of curses in the real world, as I said, and only trapped them in the Nether. It opened up a range of techniques and destroyed the classism laid out by old Jujutsu society. Maki holds her sword forward, showing a few forms whilst enveloping herself in aura. When it comes to people like us, magic, techniques are out of the question, but it doesn't mean we should limit ourselves to just brute strength. "Sensei?" She stops, saying, "Yeah, what's up?" Others can use domain expansions and stuff, but we can't even do that. I mean, I know we're strong, but what happens if we're caught in one?" "Oh yeah, we're immune to domain expansions since they only target cursed energy. You're like an object, but if we're talking domains, we ourselves also can release our own world." As she raises her sword to the sky, she closes her eyes and her aura radiates violently before blinding the students' eyes. When they open their eyes again, they see the world that Maki sees. They saw a barren coliseum in ruins and yet so full of life, and it seemed like it never end. This world then splintered into existence, painted on air, as it quite literally left cracks in space as it showed itself. This is only possible when you're someone like Maki with an aura stat of 150. As this world disappears, all the students would have to catch their breaths as they were left in awe of their new sensei. "You just saw my world," meaning the way you experience things, understand them, feel them will create that. From that world, you'll draw power into whatever weapon suits you, whether it be a sword, spear, axe, or just your body. That's why you need to be unyielding and defined in your ideals. What do you want? Meanwhile, in the summoning class, we find Gojo, Megumi, and Junpei as the two will be showing their summons And Gojo explains with accuracy how such an ability can be used to the full extent. The school of Kyoto and Tokyo are interchangeable via dungeon, by the way, connecting the two. So it could be either school that people are using to teach these kids, and sometimes they hold them at different places just for fun. It's just fun to switch up. Was the assistant teacher to Kusakabe for swordsmanship, but she was honestly doing everything. I mean, Kusakabe is extremely knowledgeable. Like, he'll be cool as hell. Like, one day he'll show some crazy ass shit, like, and then he'll show off. And then some days he'll just sleep. Kamo though was busy. Everyone has a role, but going through each one of these people would take too long. I'm gonna streamline it a little bit. To say Kamo was busy was just a way of saying that he did disband the Kamo clan, but he made a guild, which eventually earned him the title of Patriarch of Blood. Thank you for the comment. And though clans don't exist anymore, of course groups are bound to be made, and people are gonna do things together. By the way, Miuma and Kokichi Muta are dating. Not as crazy, but I feel like their happy ending is by far one of the most wholesome scenarios here. Maki and Yuta are also a couple. Toge has become the leader of his people, and by the conditions of the story, they're fairly neutral. We never really see or hear bad things about the Inumaki clan, and Toge doesn't seem to despise them. It just seems like everyone in the Inumaki clan is extremely almost empathetic, because like they're born with the ability to twist the world just by talking normally. And it's surprising they've never shown a evil member of the Inumaki clan. So I have a feeling that they're not that bad of people. They're just kind of misunderstood. But the worldwide change that occurred is that sorcerers from all over are trying to make a way for themselves as rich people or whatever, because curses have become marketable and cursed tools have become marketable as well. As such, they are trying to just make money as fast as possible. But what about Yuji? Well, he's off doing whatever, traveling the world without restriction and returning back home from time to time. And he does it to not give himself a big ego, as he has many titles now and they're all known by everybody. I'm going to put his status right here because I'm not saying all of that, and a lot of things about him have changed in terms of stats and titles. But there's also a lot of extra skills that he earned and leveled up that he didn't even mean to, like things he does out of habit that create OP skills. But these are the ones I'm going to show you for now. But after his long travels, he eventually returned to Jujutsu Tech on this very day. Damn, this place doesn't change one bit. He hears a lot of chatter from the kids around, and it truly feels like a school now, because back when he was here, well, there was basically only him and his senpais. He wears a hood hiding his face along with a mask covering his nose and mouth as he walks past the students who are currently on break in accordance with their schedule. But they feel this man is incredibly powerful because they sense that every fiber of their being dictates so. You think he's a new teacher? No, maybe it's him, the administrator? No, there's no way, he's too busy. As he heads for the teacher's building, he takes off his hood and mask and reveals his face as all present gasp or freeze as some of their assumptions are confirmed. They are starstruck, completely shocked, and some ask for an autograph. Yuji says sure. He doesn't mind. It is bothersome, but he doesn't mind. From the balcony of the 4th floor where the teachers reside, all his comrades run out and look about until they see him. He's getting fan mob, says Kugisaki. I didn't get a call from him, Fushiguro says. He must be trying to surprise us or something. Hey guys. They quickly then turn and realize that he's right behind them. They look down and the other him is still there with the kids. And then they look back at Yuji before them. I swear, every time with you. Welcome home, brother. You brought souvenirs, right? Asked Gojo. Yep. So, teaching, huh? This is the end of the series. Hope you enjoyed. And I hope that I have conveyed how much I actually put into this, even if it was a short series, because JJK is technically not over yet, and I really don't know how to end it aside from this. But I hope you had fun, and peace. See y'all next time. I'm gone.